Welcome to Stampscapes Spooky Live Show. This is a piece of the Deanna Tubb-Sedillo background paper. I'm guessing it's 5 by 8 here. If it's not, that's roughly what it is. But I've stamped out this kind of a Halloween scenario here using one of the new walkways, sedge filler to each side, and then I've incorporated this little bush in here to give it more of that craggy type of whatever surface texture. And then some of the cemetery tombstones off of one of the sets along with this church right here. Okay, so I've been thinking about utilizing some glow-in-the-dark pieces using that Halloween imagery. One of them would be the UFOs. I thought that would be really cool because they have these alien eyes, and if we stamped them on there and cut them out, they would be their eyes would be glowing. But I also thought one of the things that might be kind of cool is to stamp out the buildings where we have these interior lit windows here. And what I do is I stamp out this portion down here so that certain parts of this that would get really fussy to cut, I don't have to do that because it's already stamped on here. So like this top portion right here, I don't want to cut out that little cross out there, so it's already stamped in there. And if I put this glow-in-the-dark sticker paper right over the top, it's already in there. And then there's areas right around these stairs here that are staggered like that. But all I had to do was cut a straight line right there. And having that stagger in the impression, we just lay it right over the top of it, and it makes for a really easy cut. Some people call this like fussy cutting right here, and I get it. We don't want to be doing like too much cutting, but this took, I don't know, less than 60 seconds to do. We have our moon right here, also in the glow-in-the-dark, and then I have pre-stamped and cut out some of my lantern imagery, and we're going to flank this walkway up here with glow-in-the-dark little features. Hello, Linda. And we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so, I mean, we can just apply that down. I think this looks pretty decent just as is, but I don't like to leave it just like that. I like to add in some different shadows and shading in here. I find that really fun. Let me do something here. I'll put the glow-in-the-dark sticker church in here later, but let's put in the moon right now so that I can reference this in terms of shadow placement. Okay, now it's not going to be that critical here, but my objects are going to be backlit from this moon. So like with these tombstones here, I'll just roughly add a little bit of shadow coming down this way. So if there was a tombstone over here, the shadows would be more in this direction, but right in here, you just kind of roughly add this tapering tone like this, going from a little bit darker to lighter like that at the base of each one of these tombstones here. Right over here, the angle is a little bit more extreme. Okay, like this. What you can do is you can just put like a light line like that, and then you just go and darken it in like that. Okay, and just kind of roughly aim that in that direction. These tombstones are a little bit smaller, so they'll have a shorter shadow length, and these ones are really small, so I'll just put a little bit of a tone around it. Here's a bunch of them right in here, and the shadow's like that, you know, it's just like this little dot, so hardly anything. But that little shadow like that, if you do it, it's like an insignificant, barely noticeable element in your pieces, but cumulatively it kind of adds up, you know, once you have like all of these different little shadows in here, you know, they can add up. I mean, you can make like a longer shadow too to make it a little bit more extreme, like this. Longer shadows would be you know, where the moon's a little bit lower in reality, but you can just add in, you know, a longer shadow just, you know, for drama's sake. Artistic license, as we call it. Okay, now up on this little horizon right here, slope, we'll add in a little bit of a darker top right there just to separate surface, land from sky like that. You can see all these little nuanced color changes that Deanna has in her background paper right here. I hated to cover it up, but it does serve a purpose. It changes and it varies the light down in here, which is really nice. And of course it makes for a really fast, potentially fast project for us. You know, we don't have to do all those different tones in the background. You know, if we don't, especially if we don't have time. Okay, so this chapel right here, let's have a shadow right down in here being cast by the church like that. I don't want to darken too much of it in right over here. I mean, that would probably be going over here, but I want those tombstones to show, so you just don't fill that in, okay? Like I said, you kind of reference, I don't know, whatever, nature, reality, light, but you're not bound by it again. It's better to think about these scenes as like a little bit of a stage. Hello, Zealous Zest, how are you? Yeah, see it as more like a stage, and you're the lighting director, stage director, whatever, and you control lighting in your piece, and you can manipulate it however you want to serve your purposes for, I don't know, whatever visual focal points, you know, for your viewers. Now, one of the things I could have done on this one that would have been pretty cool, but I didn't want to. I need to order some more glow-in-the-dark sticker paper right here, but I could have stamped out the steps right here and then cut them out of here, and then had each one of these steps kind of glowing, going back in the distance, which I thought would be kind of interesting, potentially interesting. I don't know, but we didn't do that. All right. I'm uncertain if I should. I was thinking about potentially adding some white pigment ink in here. I think I can do that. See, nothing on this paper is white, so. But now that I have this moon in here, it's not white. It's kind of greenish in tinge with that glowing glow color, the typical glow color. So I think with enough of these elements here, I think I can add in this mist. And of course, with like a Halloween scenario, it's always good to have kind of you know, things as atmospheric as possible. Let me try this too. I forgot about the white pastel pencil. Let me add in some of this in here. So I'm just looking for some of these lighter areas, and I'll add a little bit of this pastel pencil on here. Just to kind of bring things out just a touch here. So I was mentioning those steps kind of being illuminated. Well, I'm not doing them in glow-in-the-dark, but you can do them in like a little pastel or something like that. I don't know if a white colored pencil would show up, but you can give that a shot too. Try something like that. But see these steps like that now being illuminated, they kind of draw the eye up into the scene a little bit more now. Like that. We'll need to spray seal this. I'll spray seal it very lightly with a Krylon spray fixative. It's Halloween in May. Oh, it's Cinco de Mayo today too. It's one of my friend's birthdays. I don't remember. I'm really bad at memorizing birthdays. I have them on my calendar and stuff like that, but I do know. I remember it's one of my friend's birthdays because of the Cinco de Mayo date. Okay, so that's a little bit of the white pigment ink down there. Let's add a little bit of, white pastel pencil. Let's try a little bit of the white pigment ink. I need to reload my cotton balls next to my desk here. Yeah, I do have a bag of them. Bag of cotton balls. Boy, it sure lasts for a long time. It's nice having tools that are kind of household items that are inexpensive, and one bag of it really lasts a long time. And I use them all the time. Okay, so let's try. Again, I remember I'm going to put a glow-in-the-dark, piece over the top of that, but let's see if we can add a little of this in here. Okay, this is not applying at all. I need this juicier. As I dab in here, it gets very frayed like that, so you push it down like that, just on the back of the pad, like that, to give yourself a nice flat surface to work with. You don't want it super juicy again. You want it really quite dry so that you can apply a very light application with it. Almost like a very fine powder, like a fog machine would. So you just have to get used to working with a very, very dry applicator and media. One of the things that we're not usually doing in most forms of media application, unless you're a painter and you're familiar with a dry brush technique. But inks and things like that in crafting, we're usually not adding such a small amount with each application. So learn it and get used to it, because it is really, really fun. Or it adds a really fun element. It's like hazy in here now. It's really adding to the atmosphere with any scene, but especially like in a, I don't know, forested, or I don't know, it could be, well, I don't know, I use it on just about every scene. But Halloween, absolutely. All right, so I think that looks pretty good right now. Let me add in some of the, if you add too much of it too, you can, well, this is a matte piece of paper, so it's not going to come off very easy, but if you add too much of it and just like you're trying to wipe it off, it's like, oh my God, it's stuck. Then just go back over it with, colored pencil or something like that, or black colored pencil, and just darken it again in that area. All right, so here's purple. I forgot about purple. I was using a black colored pencil for my shadows. But see, this color is right in Deanna's background paper, so I will add some of this into my shading in specific areas. So it kind of puts a targeted color, where this one's just kind of this background, but you can add colored shadows with a color out of her color scheme. All right, so that is that. The scene's coming together pretty fast. Okay, this is the glow-in-the-dark printable vinyl sticker paper, if anyone's curious. It's not glow-in-the-dark vinyl, sticker paper. It's printable glow-in-the-dark vinyl sticker paper. And I stamped on it using water-based Brilliance black pigment ink, okay? This vinyl sticker paper is designed to use water-based media on it. I completely forgot about the dye-based, the Brilliance ink on there. So I stamped this out yesterday with dye-based ink, and it didn't come out very good. So the Brilliance is, I find, the best one to use on the vinyl sticker paper, and it dries pretty fast too because it's a type of paper that's designed to go through your inkjet printer, your home inkjet printer, and you can print on it whatever you want, and it's designed to dry very quickly, just like photo paper would. Okay, so that really stands out against Deanna's background, but it's also going to be whatever, light reactive, so that should be even more fun. You know, that you can turn off the lights and that'll glow. I don't know, maybe we should do like only stamp on glow-in-the-dark paper, maybe. Okay, so these are some of my lanterns. I've pre-stamped them out, and I've added a little bit of alcohol ink coloring to it, because you can use alcohol inks right over the top of the water base because it's not going to make them smear. That's another kind of benefit of using the water-based pigment ink. Other pigment inks are oil-based. So, you know, VersaFine Clear, if you try to color it with alcohol inks, it might go back into solution and smear on you. Okay, these lanterns, I hadn't thought about using them individually when I was drawing them. They're like floating lanterns, but when I started doing this with using them for, like, seeing them being used as a potential use for something else, I split them up. I split them up in my pre-stamped applications of them. Okay, let's see. When I used one of these glow-in-the-darks in one of my cards, it's like, oh my god, I'm going to be using these things like all the time. And I didn't want to just color them each time I used them. So I don't know, just one day I just stamped a bunch of these. I still haven't finished them all. There's quite a few of them I need to finish and cut out. But I set myself up for a few cards at least. Not all of them are on glow-in-the-dark too. I stamped some on just regular cardstock here, like colored cardstock, yellow cardstock, and I made some of them this reddish tone, and these ones are the green tones. So I think I don't remember if I was thinking about the usage of these with glow-in-the-darks when I first did the cardstock one. I mean, I only did like one or two scenes. It's like, oh, we have the glow-in-the-dark, so I didn't think about it too long, but it's really perfect for glow-in-the-dark applications. But look at that. I mean, even with that, you know, without glowing the dark, it really looks like it's glowing here. Okay, let's see. Now these ones, okay, this is how they look when they're connected right here, but I'm going to make a couple smaller ones. Who knew I needed lanterns like in every possible size when doing them. I had them in like a few sizes, but it's like they ended up being more fun to use than I even anticipated. They really, I don't know, they anchor and, oh, kind of, I don't know. They kind of make the scene in many different applications. I mean, the scene looked okay, and then when I add them in, it's like I can't imagine the scene without it. In a couple of them in the past. All right, let's see here. So it's two, like I put it every two things. I think it would, with every step, it'd probably be a little bit too much, I think. Let me see. I have these other hanging lanterns. These are the cutouts for those. I think I can go, maybe go one more up there or something. It's not the same shape, but I think it'll work. Just to have like one extra one up the step, or I don't know, whatever the final step on the walkway. Who knew I needed a pair of tweezers in my tools? Okay, so we have this really dinky one right here. Brilliance, not permanent. That's brilliance right here. Or are you asking if the brilliance is permanent? You've never seen glow before. It is time to bring the glow into your world. It's time to match the cards with your personality, Zealous Zest. Yeah, there's the glow. They don't the glow in the dark printable vinyl sticker paper. It's not really that common. I would have thought glow in the dark cardstock would have been very available. I don't know. I just never thought it wouldn't be. And there's like so many other papers out there. Okay, so there are a couple more up there like that. Large, low, close, and small, farther away, like that. All right. Now those don't really match the colors up here, but I might add in a little bit of extra tones up here. I don't want to do too much here, but this is just a pale green right here. So we can get a little bit of extra kind of modeling of the form by adding in, a little bit of extra tone in here, like this. Like I don't want to. This church is already toned in with fine detail, so I don't want to darken it too much because it's already, modeled, and I'm adding an extra shadow here. I mean, it in color, but it is darkening some of it in. So I'll just leave it like that. But I don't know if you can see it. It's just a little bit here and there. I mean, I might add in more if I think, these lanterns down here are just so much more rich with tone. And if these other objects just don't kind of match that a little bit, then we can add in a little bit more. Okay, so I wanted to, okay, so I've stamped out most of my imagery here first, and then I'm applying my sticker paper in here. But I needed to see how much space I had in here. before adding in some things. Okay, what I'm getting at right here is I'm going to add in some foreground here. So I didn't know where I was going to put these lanterns right here. And I didn't want to put them down on there. Or I didn't want to stamp this in here and then have the lantern go over the top of it because it would look, we'd have this right here that represents something really close. And then if I put that over the blades, it wouldn't, it wouldn't look right. So, and then this doesn't stamp really well because now this is a raised piece of vinyl on top of there. So this isn't going to stamp cleanly over the top if I wanted to put like a blade of grass in front of it. There's going to be like a gap in between one of the blades and, when it stamps on there, okay? So you just kind of do it in whatever sequence you need to. It's a little bit of, thinking ahead. You don't have to do too much, but for something like a foreground, I thought it's better if I just left this right here and then I can work that around my lantern. I also didn't know what size lantern I wanted to put in there until I got things stamped out too, so. See that right there? I just kind of have those blades of that grass right in here, but that kind of frames that off a little bit more, like that. All right, now we're almost there. I mean, like, it could be done. I mean, that would be fine to have that as your final kind of little detail or something like that. But again, I think I want to add in a little bit of extra kind of details because I really love doing details in things, stamp designs and my cards. But see, everything right in here, we have our illuminated pathway now leading up to our kind of focal points. I guess both of these are kind of focal points right here. But I want to bring in some of that lightness into the mix a little bit. So we'll put some of this moonlight. I'm using a tan here. I thought about using green. Maybe a light green would be better because it kind of looks like, the lighting in here, but maybe this is a good compromise. White would stand out a little bit more. And I guess if you want to go for, a lot more contrast or something like that, you can do that too with white. But I think this will kind of, I use the word harmonize a lot. I think this will harmonize with the background a little bit more, but you see that kind of that lighting in there? It's like detailed lighting. The white pigment ink was kind of soft. Kind of non-specific lighting. This is like a real kind of sharp, kind of sparkly lighting, so it's a nice textural contrast. It's contrast in light and dark as well because it is, a lighter pen over that background. But you see all these little tiny highlights like that? It's kind of like bringing the scene, those areas together a little bit more, I think. We've illuminated our little pathway here. Let's see. Let's bring a little bit of a stronger highlight to it, maybe on the tops of each step or something. If I was to do this again, I don't know if I do this, but I'm just looking for opportunities here for a little bit more, I don't know, clarity. So it's just a little bit of a line going across the top portion of these planks of wood like that. You want to add in a little bit of a highlighting. This gets a little bit dark in here, so I'm not going to add too much. Oh, well, here, we have so many different colors. This right in here gets real purplish, so let's add in like a little bit pink in here. So it's like a lighter version of purple could be pink. Hello, Bonnie, how are you? Yeah, Zelda says this is a Stampscapes channel, so Stampscape stamps are used on it. Primarily, sometimes I throw in other company stamps. periodically, if it's like from my private collection or something like that. You might not associate Stampscapes with kind of maximum horror, though, huh? All right, so that is that. Let's charge this up with a little bit of light, and then let's take a look at it in the dark, because that's one of the main things about this. I'm looking to see if I should add in any more shadow or something. Like sometimes I put a little bit of. Let's do this right here too. It's like I don't have like a green pastel pencil or a yellow pastel pencil. That would be really good right here. But see, now that I have these lanterns in here, see, when I stamp my tombstones in here, I know where to put in some shadows at the base of the objects. But now that we have then this light, instead of adding like a little bit of a shade, you know, you can add in a little bit more kind of like a illumination maybe around those lanterns that are lights right in here. So I'll just put a little bit like that. Again, it would be more of like green glow, but I don't have that, so. So I don't know if you can see it, just a little bit of illumination like that. Here, I'll go a little bit harder so you can maybe see it a little bit more. I'm being kind of conservative. I'm not putting too much in there like that. Like that, so a little bit of glow at the base of them. Again, it would be kind of cooler if I had maybe white and a little bit of yellow, and I can add that down there so it'd be like a warmer glow. All right, so printable vinyl sticker paper. And the glow-in-the-dark vinyl is probably really light reactive too. But let me flip off some lights here and we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully there's enough darkness in here. It's still a little bit light out where we are. Let me get a little bit more light in this. Okay, let me flip off here. Oh, yeah. Look at that right there. Isn't that fun? Now, sorry, it's a little bit, it's pretty dark in here, okay? And my camera's kind of having to compensate and try to get some light in here, but that's pretty fun. It's it's like that little extra element. You know what I mean? If you give someone a card like that, I mean, I think it looks good in the light too. But I don't know. I mean, someone puts this on their mantle or wherever they're gonna put it, and they flip off the lights. You know, they might kind of look over there every night, you know, while they have your card up or something, and take a look at that extra little glowing feature. You're saying, flip the lights back off. I like that better that way. All right, so, you know, maybe I should have taken a look and saw what it was, what it looked like before I put the vinyl church over the top of it. But I think that really adds to it. Another thing you can do too is you can, you know, you can just stamp out like this portion, right? I thought about this too. I thought about just stamping out the you know, that church in here and just doing the windows in glow in the dark. But I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool having the whole thing in glow in the dark. The other way would be very subtle, though, you know. And maybe if I do that, I would have other buildings in here where all the lights, the windows were illuminated or something like that. But I don't know, you know, having that kind of this illuminated, maybe I need one more lantern right there when I turn that off. Right there. It kind of make it a little bit unbalanced, but it seems like it was missing one right here. That's the beauty of it. You can add as many as you want. Let me see. Yeah. 10 Lights Dark. Thanks for checking out the video here. This is a background paper by Deanna Tubb-Sedillo. So she made some different background papers to for me to test out. Specifically, I don't know. Some of these might be in her Blue Night background paper card packs, but they're going to be 4¼ by 5½ standard quarter size pieces. But she sent me these larger, I think they're 5 by 8 pieces like this. So this is one of them. And yeah, I don't know. It's always one of those things where I'm kind of wondering how I'm going to use these background papers. So on this one right here, I wanted to grab one of her, I wanted just a real quick card to do tonight, so I wanted that one. But and then I went for the darkest, I think it's the darkest of my sample cards that I have of hers. This one right here, it's working around this big lake type of thing right here, so that one, I don't know, I don't know if that would have worked here. Sometimes you could stamp over existing types of imagery, but this one she's obviously made as like a lake, you know, to stamp over the top of it. But this one is more kind of open to whatever interpretation right here with this entire lower section. It looked like entire sky to me, but kind of having all those different tones in there and those kind of little subtle variations in, I don't know, whatever cloud forms or something like that. I thought it would look fine as kind of a sloping hillside or something of that sort. So yeah, I think it looked like it was like this too to me, like it was like a horizon down here, and this was like a darker sky up top. But I wanted that kind of blood red up there for this scenario here. So yeah, I have all my glow in the dark on my mantle. Well, there you go right there. See, Linda got some of that glow in the dark vinyl too. And it is just so much fun to get those end results, that those cards never left the house or were given away. She keeps them all. It's like so much fun, you know what I mean? To have these extra little things. And this glow in the dark vinyl is pretty cool too, because you can color, you know, you stamp it out with your Brilliance ink, which is water based, and you get a really good thick impression, okay? Dark impression. Here's the one I stamped on the glow in the dark vinyl. Again, the same moon, but I just had cut out this portion down here. I didn't cut out all these like fussy trees to cut out, but this portion right here, you know, it's like a 30-second cut too. But I went in and added in that extra little toning with the alcohol markers in here to get that little extra green and blue in there. Just kind of meant to match the holographic in the background, but can't use this holographic for a lot of different purposes, but if you're putting something right over the top of it, you know, it works really pretty cool. And, you know, why not do it in a glow-in-the-dark paper? You can do it in cardstock too, but it's that little glowing, glow-in-the-dark aspect that adds that extra little touch to it. So it's all kinds of little things you can do. Stamping out like houses or something like that and just doing the windows and glow-in-the-dark, or like I said, with this one right here, it's just those extra little lanterns or something like that. Moons, sky figures. You can get those little, you know, it'd be kind of fun too. I mean, it's not looking like, I wouldn't call this like looking realistic or something like that, but even if you take those little 5-point star things that kids like put on their ceiling or something like that, you know, you know, you can put like stars on over here, you know, like it's like, you know, those sticker stars, you know, like I said, that kids put on their ceiling in their bedroom. And I think that would be really fun too. It would turn it more into like a, you know, an illustration out of like a kid's book or something like that. It makes it really whimsical, so, and playful, you know, to have that. So I think that'd be a really good way to go. Let's see here. Let's put a couple little things in here. Textural forms. So yeah, it looks a little sky. See how I evenly, all my stars are like evenly spaced like that. I have to go in and force myself to go a little bit more varied. Anytime we add in these little stars like that or snow, it's like it seems like it's inherent in all of us to add them in. Like it's always like a quarter-inch apart from like but having a couple little closer makes it look a little bit better. But see all those little textures up there? That kind of brings in that type of textural, whatever, sparkly highlights down there up into the sky a little bit with that same shape. Anyway, yeah. So, glow-in-the-dark fun. Again, I reiterate that with now this isn't holographic printable vinyl. Okay, there's a different type. But this one's like a holographic printable vinyl sticker paper. But if you want to be able to stamp on this type of paper with different types of inks, I don't like the holographic ones seem to take it a lot of different types. But here's dye, Brilliant, StazOn, and VersaFine Clear. And the VersaFine Clear is oil based, but it did okay on here. Okay, it's a little bit scratchy. I would go. The StazOn, of course, stamps on just practically anything, but the Brilliance is really good because, again, it's water-based. If I stamp the StazOn onto this type of paper, if I color it with a alcohol pen, it's probably going to put that StazOn back into solution, with that solvent style of ink. But with the water-based Brilliance, you can go in and like these lanterns down here, like I've pre-colored. I have a bunch of these little set to go here because I knew I was going to use them a lot. I mentioned that early, but if anyone just joined in, but you can add in these other tones in here with your alcohol markers, okay? Whatever brand you have. So anyways, look for that printable designation on the vinyl sticker papers, be it glow-in-the-dark or like holographic or something like that, or just the plain. There's white printable vinyl sticker paper as well. It's like you stamp something out or something, or do something like that, and people take it and they put it around like a mug or something like that. And that's what a lot of that stuff is kind of designed for. But the printable types, it just opens up a lot of different possibilities as opposed to the vinyl sticker papers, be it glow-in-the-dark or holographic or plain, that require, maybe a more specific ink. I'd rather have like some sort of surface that's open to, utilization with a lot of different media than have one that's really specific to like one, which might be like a StazOn or something like that, okay? Anyways, I just reiterate that a lot because there's a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of different types of papers that look like they're the same practically, but it might have that one designation in there. In this case, printable. Okay, I like more glow. Works good with small lanterns. Yeah, the glow-in-the-darks are really fun. Hold your card really close to the light and charge it up with bright. Yeah, hold it up. But this one right here, this vinyl sticker paper is really good. It really holds a charge really good. I'm talking about just in relation to a lot of other types of glow-in-the-dark media. This paper right here, I'm assuming that's why it's pretty good, but this is it's really thick. If you had like a 110-pound like cardstock, like this is really stiff right here, this metallic right here. But this vinyl right here it's even thicker than it. So I have a feeling that it's just really laden with that glowing, whatever it is. It's not pigment, but whatever. We'll just call it pigment for now. But I have a feeling that it's just really, there's like a big thick layer of that glowing element in that paper there. So even like the smallest things glow for pretty, a pretty good amount of time. Not maybe not 10 minutes or something like that, but like this piece right here, these two, you can probably see a little bit of residual glow even after that time. It's just not going to be like super, light and bright. Okay, let's see. Did he have the moon glowing? I don't remember. Yeah, that it is glowing. So, did you guys want to see this again? Did you not see here? Let's take a look one more time. Charging it up. Zealous Zest, yeah. It is in my other glow in the dark things. I'll put it in the description section. Again, I think there's two different brands, but one of them was more expensive per sheet, I think. See like that? Look at how bright that is. And like, see, here's my pack of pre-printed ones. Like, see, even those tiny little elements like that. And here's the whole sheet. Now on camera, it looks a little bit brighter than it is in person. Okay, it's because my camera is really kind of compensating for the lack of light in here. So dim this down about, I don't know, 15%, and you'll get kind of what I'm seeing. But I'm seeing a more greenish tone here too, okay, in person. All right. Oh, here it is right here. But giraffe vinyl, I don't know, whatever you call it right there. Vinyl sticker paper. It says holographic clear laminate stickers. That's not what it is. It's glow in the dark clear laminate. But this is where the glow came from right here. I just noticed that. Why are they calling it holographic? But see this right here, high quality printable vinyl paper. And it says use the printable vinyl sticker at ticker. All that stuff coming out of China. They don't, they need someone writing all this stuff up right here. But see, inkjet printer. Okay, I don't know. It just says inkjet printer. Some of those other ones say like some laser printers, but I don't think it would be laser printers though. I think it's all just the like the inkjet styles of inks. Those ones are dye based. All right. Okay, you can paint your living room glow in the or just have it get these vinyls like this and then cut them all out or something like that, and you can tile, checkerboard your entire living room like that. That'd be pretty fun. It'd be fun to do like little glow in the dark scenes like this and then put them in a little bit of frame or something like that, and you put them up like during, I don't know, whatever, the Halloween season or something like that. Yeah, the holographic, you can use the holographics for anything. I've probably used them. I've used them. They're often for water scenes. Probably most of my holographic scenes, because I like having it this way. Or I like this way too. Well, this is a water scene right here, but oftentimes I do it like this way. And then I have my lake or something in here. So it's like the formations in the sky are reflecting down in the water. Like a mirrored type of thing. This one's more like Northern Lights type of a look right there. Let's see. Reflections at one of my faves, but this is really cool. Yeah. I'm definitely into reflections, but like I said, if it can be like illuminated reflections that move and glow. When you do these types of things like this too, like little glowing things, I think it takes us back to like being kids too, what do you do when you get, something that's glow in the dark? You charge it up and you run into like a I always mention this. You run into like a closet or the bathroom or something like that, and you want to see what it does and glow. This would be fun too if you. Now, I don't do mirror reflection cards usually on a vertical like that, but you can do like something like this, and I've done this before, but I would do this. I don't know if I would do this on a silver mirrored, but see, if you did something like this, let's imagine this is a water side type of thing, but you do something like this, and then you can have like a mirror card, a reflection card. See, this is why I don't do reflection cards on a vertical format piece because it's too tall, but you can have like glow in the dark little elements in your water down here. Like this would be your water, so yeah. Anyways, the point being is the possibilities are really endless. Endless kid fun. But I don't know. As long as the card to me looks pretty decent too, with the lights on, I would add a little bit more tone to that. In fact, I think I will. I'll flesh this church out a little bit more with a little bit more color. Not too much more, but I'll get it a little bit more toned in, and maybe a little bit more on the moon too. But otherwise, like I said, I didn't have to do all this shading and everything like this down here. I think it was pretty cool without it. You do that, stamp it out, pop these little glow-in-the-dark elements in there, and you can have a really fast card, But, and then you can just take it as far as you want, a little bit of extra time, 15 minutes, and then edit in the shadows and little haze in there. It makes it really fun to do, and those little types of details like that are, it's really fun to do if you have the time. Okay, let's see. Do I have a southern accent? I don't know. We're from Lompoc, California, so Central Cal. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really dark in here without that lighting, so you really have to kind of compensate. I could have turned my camera down, too, when I turned off my lights in here, but you're not getting the greenish glow that a typical glow-in-the-dark type of feature would have. So, like I said, it was much more like this color, maybe, this green here, but it was kind of glowing more whitish green, so not quite yellowy green like this. Maybe the lanterns down here because I colored them with yellow, but anyways, just keep that in mind. It's not going to be exactly, if you get this, vinyl sticker paper, but it's the typical glow-in-the-dark color that you see. These days they have all kinds of different colored things like powders and everything like that. Every color of the rainbow for glow features, but the vinyl only seems to come in one tone. Not like a blue one or a red one or a pink one or something like that, like the glow-in-the-dark powders come in these days. They have all kinds of different colors in that. You can buy a multicolored pack or whatever. That'd be pretty fun too. Just sprinkle a little bit of a glow-in-the-dark powder down here too. I haven't really thought about doing that before. I would probably do something where, I don't know how I'd do that. I would put some spray adhesive right down here, and maybe while it was wet, you sprinkle a little bit of that powder so you can get these illuminated areas down here. But then it's going to be tacky and sticky, so that you can probably do a spray sealant over the top of it and lock all that down, and then add in your sticker elements over the top of that. That might be kind of an interesting way to do it, if that powder adheres to the adhesive while the adhesive is. It just depends how wet that adhesive stays, because that adhesive dries pretty, reasonably fast too. All right, with YouTube Shorts, I don't know. I've thought about the YouTube Shorts before, but I don't know. I'd have to abbreviate kind of the process so fast, and my YouTube things are really meant for our customers, to give them some kind of gist of how to use the stamps they've purchased. It's not really for I'm just trying to get the masses and a most amount of views on the videos as possible. It's really more for like ideas on the people who've invested in the stamps to give them, kind of a whatever, hopefully an endless stream of ideas on ways to use their stamps, and if they've had stamps for a while, like different ways to use their stamps, so they can kind of like expand the range of usage of all those different designs that they have in their collection. Heat changing powder. I haven't done that before. That sounds pretty interesting. Powder changes changed with a heat gun that is hotter than a hairdryer. Yeah, like these are, you know, heat guns right here. So I haven't done that, like heat reactive types of things, but I have done, where I've used the heat gun on something like this. Not so much on the holographics, a little bit. Hello, Tony, how are you? I have used heat guns on something like this to give it that little bit of oh, it kind of gives it that little rainbowy type of effect, especially with the gold. You get that kind of kind of iridescent type of look. We used to do that in when I was in school. We'd do some crafting on one of my crafts class was half woodworking and using the tools involved with that, and the other half of the semester was working with metals and I think copper. It was copper. No, maybe it was brass. I think it was brass or something. But we would use heat guns on it to change, or maybe it was a torch. I can't remember now. But it was to change and to get that color into those metals like that. That was really fun to do. I never really got like control over it because we didn't have so many different projects to do that with. But it was like jewelry making and stuff like that, and learning how to use all those tools associated with that. Yeah, it was like a base level class that like jewelry making majors would take. I've taught before 10 Light Street. I've taught how to stamp basically, but I have taught illustration before at the Laguna College of Art and Design. That was just one semester. I was like a guest instructor for like a semester. They wanted to keep me on, but it was like one class, and it was like a 45-minute one-way drive for me. So it was like I didn't have time for that. But there's been a lot of Stampscapes instruction because I sell I sell Stampscapes. So yeah. Anyway, stamps and stuff glow in the dark. Oh yeah. ZLSS, that sounds pretty good. I haven't seen. I think we've asked that before, or we've discussed this in another live stream before. But I don't know, Linda. You seem like you watched like all the live streams. Were we talking about like embossing powders, like if there were glow in the dark ones still on the market? That might have come up before. But yeah, that would be really cool. Zolocest. You can probably utilize that somehow. But even that embossing powder, even if you didn't emboss with it, I bet you can use it in some sort of application like I was talking about. If you add a little bit of spray adhesive or something like that, or just glue somewhere, and you paint it in, and then sprinkle a little bit of glow in the dark like embossing powder. I mean, the embossing powder is going to glow whether you emboss with it or not. But see, like on the tops of these ridges right here, like say, like right in here, just a little bit, on the tops of these rounded slopes right in here, if you put a little bit of that glow powder, it would be hard to control because it would be hard to kind of taper it from more powder to less. Maybe put some of it on. You take like a paintbrush, and if there's too much, you can just kind of wipe some of it off or something. But when you flip the lights off, instead of having just these elements glowing like that, if you have a little bit of a haze of glow, like on the tops of these, I think that would be really cool. An extra little thing with the addition of the powders, or like not in this one right here, but if you had like kind of more specific cloud formations or something like that, or if you want to just have like this kind of this amorphic haze in the background, like with the cloudy kind of textures, you can probably add some of that in the background using some sort of technique, and then add that so when you flip off the lights, you get a little bit of the glowing clouds as well. So I don't know. We're going on forever here. It's like there's only like so many, hours in the day to do all these experiments, and they sound like really, really fun to do. I don't know. I'll have to try to get around to doing some of these in the future, but yeah. I'm going to try. It says transparent on the jar. Okay, yeah. Give that a try there. And also, one of the biggest things about those powders and things like that, or paints too, or glow in the dark paint pens, it's how well they retain the light, how light retentive they are. Because some of them, I have some paint, glow in the dark paint, right here, like this. And it's probably good for some things, but when I put it on something, if I want it to be fairly subtle, it it almost doesn't retain enough light. So I have to put something like this. This would be better if I added on something thick. So like powders, that if you add a little bit of it down, I'm just wondering if there would be enough of it there. You know what I mean? Because if you charge it up and and then you flip off the lights and it lasts like 3 seconds, you know what I mean? I don't think that's really going to be worth that effort to put it down there. But I don't know. Maybe, okay, so say this is like here, I just thought about something. If it's like a winter landscape and it's all snow in there, and you have these little subtle blues for shadows or something like that, but you can lay down like a lot of that glow in the dark powder in there, that would be like a reason to have a really thick application of some sort of glow in the dark powder, because it would be, a lot of white or something like that. I think it would be really cool under like a glow in the dark moon there, reflecting that light off the snow. Some of you are saying, hey, we just get, it's spring now. I don't want to think about like snow for another year, Salt with water. I haven't done that technique before, Light Star. I love that look, though. That salt technique. I've never done it before myself, but I've always loved that look. Yeah, yeah. I really like that look. I've always liked that look. I'm lousy with watercolors just because I didn't really practice it too much. We did it in school, like in classes, but I was never really great with that super amorphic, really spontaneous types of media. But I love it though. I was typically better with like oil paints because you can build up and layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. I'm more of like a detailed, hard tool type of person. That's why I do like designs like these, that are like super detailed and things like that, technical pens. But that's probably why I love those real spontaneous things like calligraphy and watercolor paints. I love watercolor, like field sketches too. Not doing them, but those are always like some of my favorite paintings by people. I love, Vermeer and stuff like that, and Renoir, super layered things, but I really love those spontaneous kind of, California Impressionism types of things, real quick paintings like that. Do we post pics on your rubber stamping history group? Zealous Zest, you if it's Stampscapes, you would post it in the Stampscapes group, or you can IM me too. This rubber stamping history is more about actually that. It's more like rubber stamp history, unless there's something historical to your media that you're working with, or some company that's gone out of business. Yeah, I mean, you can do that too if you have any companies that have gone out of business and you're using the stamps on there. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna like police that rubber stamp history group. Like, hey, this doesn't qualify for rubber stamping history, but we're gonna pull it down or something like that. Do the paint spinning. Oh yeah, that's paint spinning thing. That was always like one of those things at those like craft fairs or like kid fairs, or something like that. Yeah, that was always really fun though to do. There was always a big line to get to that paint spinning type of project in there. I think we had it at our one of our stands at our like Cub Scout um, fairs or something like that. I think someone brought that in. Does he have a rubber stamping? It's yeah, Stampscapes Facebook group. You can ask Linda all about it. Linda's the manager of the Stampscapes Facebook group. Remember, it's not the Stampscapes um, Facebook page, but it's the Stampscapes 2 Facebook group. Stampscapes number 2 Facebook group. Iron napkins that are heavier and use napkins for watercolor paper. That's cool. Hmm. Older stamp lovers. Yeah, yeah. If you have a bunch of stamps, that's what that group's for. I started that Stampscapes history group because they just wasn't. There's nothing out there. There is no information on a lot of stamp companies, conventions, stores, stamp clubs, stuff like that. Uh, Suppliers a lot of times that are, that might have been huge at one point in time, but here and gone, and you can't find any information out there. So I put that, created that Facebook page just so that people can post stuff up there. If they have old photos of like, going to the stamp convention or videos, that would be really awesome. But, a lot of the history took place before everyone walked around with a camera and, a video, camera on their person in the form of these phones these days. So a lot of the things, are just, you just don't see it too much out there in terms of any historical types of information. Eileen's Creative. I don't know anything about that. Um, I know about Eileen's like tack it over and over, and Eileen's those adhesives out there. Um, if that's what that is, Eileen's Creative. And no, I don't know what that is. Yeah. If that's the like I said, if that's the manufacturer though, I'm familiar with like one or two of their products because I use rubber stamps, not clear stamps. So if people want to have some kind of tacky adhesive on the back of their rubber dies, they can use the Aleene's, tack it over and over, and I refer people to that product all the time. Yeah, 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 yeah. If you have old catalogs, um, one of the things that would be good on the rubber stamp history group is to take a photograph of the front of the catalog and maybe just like a couple pages, or something like that of the interior. That would be really cool for, especially if it's, companies that just aren't around anymore. Or it could be just an old catalog of a company that's still around too. That would be really cool to add to the group. Like I said, there just isn't anything out there um, for a lot of these different companies that, like I said, were around but aren't any longer, and there's a lot of them. The stamps are more expensive. Stamping is not as popular. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. The crafting world goes in terms of I don't know if it's cyclical, but it's definitely like trend, portions like that. So you don't find like one of the things that hurts stamping though is there aren't retail stamp stores anymore, brick and mortar stamp stores. There are a few, but 99% of them are gone. And it's not just stamp stores, when you talk about it's every sector. There's not brick and mortar shops anymore, like independent stores especially, and that was scrapbooking and stamping. So you can't say really it's not really that the hobby isn't as fun anymore or something like that, but people used to go and take workshops. Linda's here; she was an instructor at her store, but that was the thing that was the most fun. The stamp club in the store workshops, demonstrations, and get-togethers like that. But it was just really hard to maintain a brick and mortar store with that type of overhead in today's market. So you're losing that big portion. I used to travel around and teach at different stores around the country. And when you lose that kind of community of the rubber stamping community, which was a lot about that as much as the actual hobby of it and activity of it, it really hurt the hobby just in general, the media or the medium in general of stamping. Bizarre magazines, got it. Same. Yeah, tacky glue. Yeah, right. PSX. We'll have more soon. Oh, is all this? Are you the one that added the those posts up there to the history group with those pages that you did? I can't remember. I didn't know that was you. If that was you, yeah. But I love seeing those though, like that. It's great to get those. I think I've done videos of. I didn't have a lot of the catalogs of all the companies that were around back when, because when I was at conventions, I wouldn't have time to go around and just collect catalogs or something like that. In retrospect, I should have. But I've done videos on most of the catalogs from other companies that were some of my favorites. Now, some of them are still out there, like 100 Proof Press, but like Curtis Ueda and um, Stamp of the Hand, and I don't know what, like two or three other catalogs. I've posted them on a video, but I should post them to the stamping history group too. Yeah, Joanne's is closing. Yeah, it's and that's one of the biggest things. It's accessibility to it. Stamping is about it's a tactile experience, so you don't have that. It's not the same without that and the community aspect of it. It's getting together with people that you make friends with over time. You see them at the same workshops at the store, and you know what I mean. It becomes a real kind of local creative community. And they might even have like things like they might travel together, to the convention. They're eating lunch together and in between workshops or classes or things like that. That part of it is missing. That was a big part of the stamping community. Stampers, a lot of the stuff you do, the end result, because it's a card, you're giving it away to other people. So there was a lot of exchange happening. So it's a real giving type of social group, community in general. Like there was a lot of nurses that were stampers, super giving, um, you know, group of people in that profession. I had noticed it early on. It was like there's a really disproportionate number of people that are like nurses, like even store owners. They were stampers, and then they opened a store. It's like, oh, what did you used to do, or what do you still do? There's a nursing. So I found a lot of that. There's teachers too. Anyway, all right, folks. Thanks for checking out the video here and the card. Thanks for this enjoyable conversation. I love talking with other stampers. See, we're having that community here, talking about all these different products. I'm a total stamping geek, so I love thinking about things like, glow-in-the-dark embossing powders and, the Aleenes, things like that. So it's always fun to chat, about things we enjoy doing, our hobbies, right, with other like-minded people. Both kind of experienced and new to the hobby. So anyway, yeah, little experiment here, something I haven't done before. Done versions of it, but playing around with these different things, I wanted to see what this building looked like, or a building could potentially look like in a different type of, I don't know, whatever scenario here. Me, if I'm using this building in the future in just regular cards or something like that, I think I'm going to think about just doing it on the glow-in-the-dark vinyl. be it, starting off with a white piece of paper or, doing it on a pre-printed type of thing. This thing like that would be kind of cool in here too, with that background in there. But I just like the fact that you can flip off the lights and you got these interior glowing windows like that in the dark. And I think that's really fun. So, yeah. All right. To hear 10, I heard from others. There is way more to my story, but I won't go into details. Oh, wait. Ruin things for us. What Facebook was doing ruined things for us on YouTube who were making content related to travel and tourism. Not everyone can travel, has a budget to travel. Huh. I hadn't heard about that, but yeah. Anyway. This. The spooky glow in the dark cutout experiment to see you in the future live streams. All right, everyone. Thanks again. And hope to see you on a Facebook group and etc. and all that. A crochet group with 10,000 people. Oh my gosh. And Facebook went crazy. That's a lot of people with crocheting hobbyists right there, or people just interested in seeing the results. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, folks. Drop me a note if you have any questions too, either off this channel, email addresses in the whatever the channel description or whatever profile or something like that, or you can see me on Facebook under my name or Stampscapes. I have 2 different accounts on that. Under my name is better though. I check that one more often. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of evening. Thanks again.